What's up, everyone? How's it going? As I said a while back, I wanted to bring you some longer form content, try and get deeper into the ideas that I talk about and bring you more value so that hopefully a lot more of you can start to practice what I talk about, the skills and strategies, and start to really apply them in your everyday life and as a rugby player as well. So thanks everyone who's ordered the online books, my mental skills guide that I give out for free. I hope that's helping, and all the messages coming through. I really appreciate them. The number one reason why I do what I do is just to be able to help so many of you, and the feeling that gives me is amazing. So I'm looking to extend that myself into this longer form content. So this video is an example of that, which I'll be putting through on podcasts and YouTube and so on to give you a deeper understanding, hopefully, and so that you can take things to a deeper level and can see real change in what you're doing day to day, moment to moment. So rugby mindset, what is it about? I guess initially people are going to think that what I do is sports psychology, mental skills training. And that would not be wrong. That is correct. So I'm a graduate from Otago University in New Zealand. So at the time, the top PE school in the country. And my major there was sport and exercise psychology. So a lot of what I do is knowledge and skill strategies taken from that realm. I also studied general psychology, so cognitive and social. So a lot of theories in psychology are applied through sport. So that's what I do, and that's a lot of where my free mental skills guide is. It's based on that. So there's certainly that angle there of the techniques you use and looking at what makes up somebody in terms of their mindset. So dealing with anxiety, coping with stress, confidence, attention, concentration, all of these aspects such as that, the ideal performance state, getting in the zone, flow, and then techniques that you build around that to try and develop those skills. So routines, breathing, imagery, and so on. So there is that aspect for sure. That's probably in where most people are familiar with mental skills training, with mindset. It's through that lens of sports psychology. So that is my background. I've studied that, and certainly I know that's extremely beneficial and some great stuff there. But I guess with me, probably makes me different to other sports psychologists, mental skills coaches out there, is that I go to the deeper level. So I go to a level of what I think is a different vibration, or a different vibration of consciousness. Again, now people get into that realm and they have different beliefs, and it might challenge someone's beliefs. So certainly with what I do, I can channel that through in a sports psychology perspective when I talk about simply being in the moment, or being creative, because you're in that state, you're accessing that level of consciousness. So people talk about different things. They might say the universe. They might use the word spirit. They might say God, higher intelligence, whatever it is. I don't get too much into it, to be honest, because for me, I like to stick to the facts. I like to stick to what works. Everything I talk about, I've gone through myself. I've learned in different ways. I've tried. I've failed. I've gone through a lot of challenges. So nothing's really made up. It's all personal experience, and I guess that's what led me to kind of merging this sort of what you can say, what I probably easiest way to refer to is the unknown. So the unknown, so the world away from thought, away from what we know as human beings through thought, through intelligence, through thinking. That's probably the easiest way, I think, to explain it. So there's that world, that energy, that whatever you want to call it. And then there's the known. So through the sports psychology lens, there's a known in the field of thought, in the field of thinking, and the mechanisms and the advantages that we're able to get as human beings by having that, having thought and everything that it's given us through science, and again in my with what I do, sports psychology. So I like to really merge the two, and I don't really know if there is a field for it, or um, you know, what's it exactly called? I'm not really sure, but that's where I'm coming from. If you don't like that too much, it's kind of all good, because the sports psychology side I keep very strong and very practical. I try to make very technique driven. And if you've noticed as well, I don't know, some of you maybe who are a bit religious, who are into philosophy, into looking at high levels of consciousness creation, whatever you want to call it. Perhaps you can see with some of the stuff that I talk about that I do kind of weave some of that stuff in a little bit. So again, it's nothing that you need to hugely believe in. I think it's just simply for me, when I go through it, mostly about just being in the moment, being connected. Again, so I talk a little bit about the stillness of nature, how that can calm you, how that can bring a slightly different energy. The way you treat people, okay, being positive. So people might talk about that in terms of karma. For me, it's very simple. If you're giving out positive energy and love, then that's the energy that's within you. And it's as simple as that. And if you kind of really dislike someone, you're angry, you're holding on to that energy within you. Whether they know it or not, doesn't really matter. So the point is, and I talk about quite a bit, is that it's about the energy that you create, that you give out, that you are, the way that you're vibrating. That's really key to how you're going to be as a rugby player. Okay, so how you are as a person, directly for me, relates to how you are as a player. Now, I know in terms of psychology, they talk about state and trait, which is true. So, for example, some people are very confident on the rugby field, and public speaking, they freak out a bit. So in that state, they're quite confident. Or someone in their job is very confident in that realm, and then in others, they're not so much. I like to keep it really simple and try and, for me, if you build up your trait, so your personality traits, who you are, in a certain way, ideally you can apply it to any context. So yeah, that's kind of what rugby mindset is about. So and I draw on a lot of people that I've learned from. And again, like I said, I've tried everything. So I look at the nature of thought, our emotions, how do they balance? Okay, how can we get them in alignment? How can we bring our energy into the moment, okay, to be fully connected? Because the way I see it is that thought blocks us off. Thought is limiting, and it blocks us off from the actual moment that's happening. So in sports psychology, that leads into flow, or being in the moment, or being in the zone. Okay, and I believe that you can get into the zone basically all the time, almost. It is possible, and honestly, that's probably the goal for everyone, is to be in that zone, be in the moment, completely all the time. I would say, not just in rugby, but all the time. Again, we're all building through that. We're all learning how to work with our emotions, how to understand them, how to be aware, and then how to live with them, and then be comfortable with them. And when we start to get those things right, you start to transform your energy, and thought will change just like that. So yeah, I don't want to sort of ramble on too much. I know a lot of the stuff I do is in my posts, but I did want to really give it just a clear example of how I do things, what it's about, and the value that I try and bring. So I'll start to put some more of these videos out, and just think about things that I get asked a lot, and then try and go a little bit deeper into it. So yeah, again, I do my posts how I do, because people are just they're just at different stages. Sometimes a really practical sports psychology technique, mental skill, is going to work great for someone. Sometimes just learning gratitude and being grateful can really change someone's energy. Sometimes just, something as little as imagery can have a powerful effect, okay, changing the way you think and feel. The thing is, this is hard work, and I know that myself, and it ain't easy stuff, and it's hard, and you got to keep at it. You've almost got to be more passionate about it than you are with anything else you've done in your life if you're gonna succeed at really changing and evolving your mindset. Because we run on programs as human beings, so we're creatures of habit. We run on habit 90% of the time. We're just going through, and if you just sit back and be aware of yourself and just watch how your emotions and thoughts can control you throughout your day, direct what you do, control your behavior. So, really, for me, it's about getting, sort of exposing or going into that world or the unknown, that energy that's completely away from thought, the life consciousness, whatever you want to call it, and then letting that, the more of that you bring into yourself, the less and less impact your thoughts and emotions have on you. So it's just being in the moment, being present as much as possible, being creative, doing what you love, enjoy. So straight away there's a bit of a structural sort of clue. You don't fight against your thoughts and emotions. You'll never win. You're reinforcing them, and you're actually energizing them. So it's, for me, really, if I was going to sum up what I do, it's just about bringing in that level of presence and being, and to such a level that you overcome your thoughts and emotions, and you really go for a transformation of the actual energy that you live with, that you put out, and that you are. And then rugby is just becomes easy after that. So look, great to sort of just touch base, and I'll try and do this a little bit more. Cheers, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks.